Hello, I'm Joanna Toch from Family Law Cafe. Today I'm talking to two very lovely young people, Ramon and Varier, and they've both been through the family law process, indeed, with Family Law Cafe. So I'm going to just have a chat with them. Want to find out a little bit more about the two of you. I know a little bit, got to know you a little bit.
Ooh.
Very interesting people. So Ramon, tell me about you.
What about me? Is it like me, the business owner? Me?
About how would you describe yourself in 3 words?
Kind, too kind, and kind.
Triple kind. And so, what do you do now?
So I'm a business owner
Yeah.
for Camp Lion Fitness alongside my partner, Varja.
Yeah. And what does Camp Line Fitness do?
So we're basically a fitness product where imagine Deliveroo,
Yeah.
but for fitness.
Okay.
And we come to your location and we serve you.
Perfect. And Varya, what's your role in Camp Lion?
I'm an operations manager and a director, so I like to think of myself behind the scenes person, the one that can provide structure and make things work, making sure that Ramon delivers everything he needs to deliver on, and make sure that we provide the service of the standard that we kind of aspire to have within the business.
Okay, so I know that you've got a history in boxing,
Yeah.
something I'm particularly interested in, and you know why, because
father.
my father was a boxer.
Yeah.
He was heavyweight champion of Britain in the 50s. Way before my time, he turned professional for a while. Tell us about you.
Oh, well, boxing is near and dear. Like, it's in the blood. My father's Cuban, my mother's Panamanian. I grew up in the troubled cities of America, and boxing kind of kept me structured, organized, disciplined. So it was my temple, my shrine. That's boxing for me.
Yeah, I know that my aunt told me that in her family they were evacuated in the wartime, and they just had to learn to fight
Yeah,
because they were London kids in the country, and he learned well. And then when he was in the army, you know, he learned well and he was good.
Yeah.
So I know that you're very modest,
Yes.
but tell me about your achievements in boxing.
Oh, okay. So I won the prestigious Haringey Championship, 2014, two-time national ABA champion, pro record 3-1, which I recently retired because Camp Lion has been so good to myself and my family and my kids, where I've actually want to divulge deeper into the business. And as you know, probably your father told you stories, but boxing is something you don't play with.
Yeah.
So either I'm going to be 100% in or I'm going to be 100% out. So I
Yeah.
took the out route and focused on being a family man and a businessman.
Do you know, he never said a word about boxing to me, ever. He was finished by he was 22. I was
Way
the third
off.
child. So I think he was really into it just for that 3-4 years.
Gotcha.
And then he was really out of it. And then he was a businessman, really
we go.
successful. And I think you don't play with it.
Yeah.
You've got to have complete discipline.
100%.
And what weight were you then?
Welterweight.
Welterweight, okay, yeah. So he was heavyweight,
Yeah,
light
yeah,
heavyweight.
much heavier than me. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't that big a guy, but again, you can't mess around. There's all of
Yeah.
these divisions, aren't there? That
100%.
shows how
Just a few
intense the
pounds.
competition.
Yeah, a few pounds can be a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Receiving those blows.
And so now you train people. Do you train them in boxing or just if possible?
Our product is all facets. Sometimes people just want to have a good conversation
Yeah.
and work out at the same time, but
Yeah.
it ranges from strength and conditioning,
Yeah.
boxing, Muay Thai, karate, wrestling. I mean, the list will go on.
Oh,
and on.
wrestling,
I'm a
okay.
martial artist that
Oh,
boxes.
wow. Like Chris
Yeah.
Eubank. Yeah.
In the martial arts world, I'm up there.
Wow, yeah.
But it's crazy because I've been with him for a couple of years, and it still amazes me like how much knowledge on martial arts he has, and how many different modules you can basically perform and teach, and I'm thinking like, wow, this is wild. It's like speaking 18 different languages, but in martial arts, basically. And he's fluent in them, and he can actually teach them, and that's incredible.
The
Yeah.
only thing I could do practically in life is teach combat sports. I can't do anything else practically.
Well, you've got Varya, you don't need to, do
Clearly,
you?
clearly.
And that's why you're such a great combination, two of you, and I love you for that. You're such a great team.
Yeah, we are.
Because Varya's got all of that, she's like, you're so organised,
Yeah,
aren't you? You're
she
just,
is.
you can just hand over that part to her.
100%.
Because no one can do everything, obviously.
No.
You just need to find
He's a
your
visionary,
partner.
he's a dreamer, and I come in and I just execute
You
on the
make
back
sure it
of his
happens.
dreams and
Yeah.
like say, hey, this is achievable, you know, and let's shoot for the moon and, you know, I'll make
Yeah.
sure we land somewhere amongst the stars.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. I've always said that. You know, you just got to aim high, haven't you? And then
And I always aim
you're
high.
going to end high. So
Yeah.
let's just aim really high.
Yeah.
So I know that I helped you out with, you came to Family Law Cafe.
Yeah.
How did you find Family Law Cafe? Was it Varya? I'm
Varya.
guessing. I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first of all, let's make it clear, she didn't help us out.
Yeah.
She was like that person, you know, like when you don't know where you're going and you're completely lost.
Yeah.
She's that person that was like, no, we're actually headed here.
Yeah.
And
The torch
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the darkness.
that's what it
and,
was more like.
and there were like definitely days when it felt really, really dark. And he would call you and you'd always pick up, and that was like amazing because you never thought that you'd get that type of service.
Yeah.
And
Because
you know,
lawyers and law firms, they get
Yeah.
a bad rap. You know?
Yeah, well, I
It's
aim
like
to
it's
be a
always-
bit different.
Yeah.
I do it slightly differently because, you know, being a lawyer it's an incredibly interesting job. I love what I do, but I think the whole communication, how we offer that service, is something that we should always be looking at new ways.
Definitely.
So I know you use the online case base. Did you find that useful?
Yes.
I did.
So,
as an admin person, I think that was like a big selling point for us as well. So it was just, you could see, like, it was easy to share work. You could see what's been put on the platform, what's being accessed, you know, exchanging the documents. So there wasn't any confusion with email filed by accident, email gone missing in a spam folder. So it was all out there, and it's just like really easy to access, and it was so safe as well. Like I liked
Yeah.
all the login systems, and yeah, it was
Yeah.
just
So when you got asked, you know, I don't know, 50 questions about the same thing, and so it had to be organised, and obviously if you can judges, I've heard them, you know, why haven't you answered this question, or you got this, and sometimes I think they're just people doing their
Yeah.
best, you know.
Yeah.
Most people, there are some that are trying to hide things, but most people are just struggling to do
Oh,
their
yeah.
best.
It's
under
very
great
overwhelming.
strain.
The whole process can be very, very overwhelming, especially for somebody like, let's say, Ramon. He comes from a background where he's not an admin person. He's not detail oriented.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
He's very successful in what he does, but you give him a bunch of documents to sort through, and he'll struggle.
I'll just
you know?
stare at them for a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah, so I know that, and that's the other thing, that because obviously you had complete trust in Varya, you could say, look, can you go on and assist with this? And then it kept the cost down, didn't
Yeah.
it, as well? Because often we'd say, oh, Varya's going to do that.
Yeah.
So you don't need a lawyer to do it, because
Yeah.
you could do it yourself. You just need to be told what to do.
But I think it also comes from like a really good, on the back of really good guidance. Like, yes, you can complete certain tasks, but there needs to be like a strategy, and having that strategy provided for you, and being very clear and transparent in terms of where we're heading, what are we doing, what are we trying to achieve here. That made like the whole process so much easier. So you kind of, it can be tedious going through like bank statements or looking for certain correspondence on WhatsApp, but once there is that kind of
Framework,
clear
yeah.
framework and path, it just makes it so much more bearable.
And when you came to us, because I haven't asked you these questions, yeah, did you look around and try other solicitors, or what? How did you end
It was
up
really
with
interesting
us?
because I remember that day so clearly. Like, I remember we were walking through Hyde Park, and I said, listen, we can't take on this whole thing ourselves.
Yeah.
We need some support. We need some legal guidance. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I know it's going to be pricey. I know it's going to be expensive. And then I started looking for, you know, places where to receive that support. And Family Law Cafe comes up. And I just felt really good about it. It's like one of those really weird situations where you just kind of, you have a gut feeling
Yeah.
about something. And I remember saying like, hey, let's pick up the phone, call them straight away, and see what they can do. And I think because it's a smaller business, it's like you have this very personable approach. Like it's always easy to come to some sort of arrangement. And I think I can't remember who we spoke to on the day. Maybe Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Zoe.
That was some time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the person was very friendly, kind of, we'll get this sorted for you, we'll get this set up, you can pay this today, and then you can pay that tomorrow, basically. And that kind of made things easier for us, and we just said, like, okay, let's go with this.
Yeah, for me, at the end of the day, it's like when something happens that's very unjustful, and you know that I'm the type of person I always try to like, hey, let's sort it out. But when you get to a position where you realize it's actually a big problem and it needs to be sorted, like for me, the whole reaching out to Family Law CAF was like I thought I was going to have like a male lawyer or somebody beside me. But when I had like a bunch of women actually on my side,
With the women surrounding
me
you.
personally, I felt so much better, like, you know? So that was my experience when I first started. I was like, now I even the playing field, you know?
Yeah, I know that you were really keen all the way through, always have been, just, you didn't really want to be there, I don't think, did you? You did not want to be in any kind of legal case. You want to just settle it in any way you could.
And sometimes you compromise yourself in that process.
Yeah, and it's difficult. And sometimes I have to say to people that you can't get around something, you do have to go through it.
100%.
And I think that was the case with you, that you just wouldn't want to be there.
Yeah. I thought being a nice guy was the right thing to do, but there's a big difference between a good man and a nice guy. And I had to learn how to be a good man rather than just, oh, well, this will keep peace. And then eventually you deal with a bigger situation.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that I learned from this whole side of things.
I think it's really common. I mean, I just don't think anyone wants to be in court.
Yeah.
No one wants to be there.
Yeah.
And I know that we gave you kind of mixed service, didn't we? Because at one stage we had a solicitor we brought in.
Yes.
I think that was useful for a little bit, and then we thought, costs are going up, and then we changed that.
Yep.
So we were quite flexible, weren't we, as we went
very
along.
flexible.
We moved, So I think that's another thing, that how you start a case, it is important, but you have to keep thinking all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think this course correction and adjustments that were provided just kind of
led us to success.
Allowed, exactly, because if we had, stuck with a solicitor and run out of money like a couple of months into the process, we would not have gotten where we got to like a very favorable and successful outcome.
Yeah. Because there was this cost benefit thing going on, and obviously you actually had two cases running at one stage. You were dealing with one, and we were just very, very flexible with it. weren't we?
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely felt like a teamwork, and having like a really solid team where every player was kind of playing their part and acting not out of their ego, but not as much as it is a business. It felt like we were on the same team and we just want to win. There's some costs and price to pay, but ultimately the goal is like, hey, let's win. And whatever needs to be done was done, and the flexibility was the key word in this process.
But you talked about winning, and I kind of feel that's right, but it's not that we didn't take it that we just going to force what happens. We just got to an outcome that was manageable for you, wasn't it?
Yes.
And I'm assuming that that's still okay. Okay with it. And you were so open to compromise all the time. And
I think our win was literally like, let's settle.
It was.
The win meant for us, like, let's settle and close this whole thing
get
down.
on with our lives and move on. Because I'm guessing it's a really good thing that you're not talking to me on a daily basis anymore. I know you'd love to.
Yeah.
No, I had a really, for like months, I had some sort of like PTSD response to Gmail. Like every single time I would see a Gmail notification popping up on my phone.
But that wasn't from us, from the other.
But it was like there was constant exchange of like, okay, so we upload this document, we share it with them, they send something back, and it was just like my heart would sink. every single time I would see a Gmail notification, I'm like, this is...
Are you okay now?
I'm better now, yeah.
I think it's one of the things that we've improved, that now when you get an email, you can just send it straight on to your case space. So we put in a code. I don't think we had that.
No,
then.
no.
So that might have been good. So
Yeah.
as soon as something comes in, you just put it on there.
Yeah.
And then it's in its place.
Yeah.
You're going to have to deal with it all yourself.
No, that would have been helpful.
But can you imagine if you had to keep all of that email in places, and then it would have been in your life,
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. No, it's...
Yeah, it was a very difficult period, but you know, like I said, you were that light where we couldn't see. It's like you had the experience, you had the know-how. You know, like a lot of times, for example, a student will come to me to learn how to box.
Yeah.
I have the experience.
Because you know what you're doing. You
I
know what
have
you're
the
talking
know-how.
about.
I can
Yeah,
practically
yeah.
guide, and yeah,
And it's a nice feeling, isn't it?
It's
nice
very-
for me. I love doing what I
very
do.
nice.
And
there has to be a level of
Yeah.
trust.
Yeah.
And we got to that point where it's like, there was a few times where I was breaking. Like, I was mourning for my child. I wanted to be there, and I couldn't.
yeah.
And there was times where Varja would pick me up, you'd pick me up. We'd make financial adjustments to make sure we can keep moving forward. So it's like, at the end of the day, I can wholeheartedly say, I'm thankful.
So nice. And sometimes, I don't know if you agree, sometimes I was saying to you, you just don't do anything.
Yep.
Don't make that comment. Don't do it.
Just sit
don't
still.
do it.
Yeah.
Everyone always wants to be doing something. And sometimes the best thing is,
Don't do nothing.
Oh, that's the hardest part
Yeah.
in life in general, the
Yeah.
surrender process.
Yeah.
so what are you guys planning now with just Camp Lion, and how's it
Ooh,
where's
Camp
it going?
Lion, it's a high-end product. So we have our hands, our feet, our legs, our heart, our soul in like Jumeirah Hotel, Chelsea Barracks,
Cool.
Forbes listed BXR Club. We're currently negotiating with One Hyde Park.
So we're basically trying to get ourselves into all high-end gyms
Yeah.
and residential gyms, and just make sure that we're the first ones that get the call
Yeah.
if somebody needs a trainer. We're kind of growing our roster of trainers. So from yoga, you know, we already have like martial arts, but making sure we have strength and conditioning coaches of both genders. So whatever the client needs, we want to be the first ones to receive the call and provide the right person to deliver the service.
So when I've got people at Family Law Cafe and they say, I want to improve my health.
Yes.
Exactly.
Come
You're the
to us.
guy.
Exactly.
You're the guy.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah, because it's such a nice thing. I mean, just keeping fit and well and having that something else in your
Yeah.
life rather than just constantly thinking about the dramas of,
Yeah.
of
And
what you're going through.
One of like the most amazing things I find about training is, especially if you're with a good coach, like training with Ramon is fascinating. It's like for an hour you're completely out of your head and you're in your body.
Yeah.
You know, you're on the pads. You're surrounded by high energy, loads of kind of encouragement and love, and it's just when you're going through something really difficult, having that hour to yourself can be a game changer, and
Yeah.
it can extend that, you know, kind of your mental well-being by an hour. Then you start adding on other habits and you know, routines on top of that, and it's so important. It's so important.
Yeah.
Just getting out of your head into your body, and I
Yeah.
feel like with fitness you can do that.
Oh, yeah.
And you need a right coach for that.
You do. And so what I'm understanding is that someone comes to you and will you ever advise them, hey, why don't you try some martial arts in your routine, or how does it all work?
I think in general people come with some sort of idea in terms of what they want to achieve. It's mostly weight loss. It's mostly like, I have an injury, I want to, you know, rehab. And you build their fitness routine around that. So if it's an injury, you know you're going to rehab, so you probably need an S&C coach. If somebody comes and says, hey, I want to lose weight, get them moving, you know, get them on the pads, do it in a safe way. Like Ramon always combines his strength and conditioning with boxing, so you'll get your sweat on, but also you'll work a little bit on your strength and you build it up. So there's all the training is adjusted or tailored to clients' needs, and everybody's unique.
And do they buy a package of lessons,
So
or
I guess
how flexible is it?
that's a good one. So when Camp Lion came to be,
Yeah,
it happened during the pandemic.
yeah.
So when I created the name Camp Lion Fitness. So since 6 years old, I've always been in training camps.
Okay.
Camps are not like this one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like I represent my clients to the highest capability of me as a coach, and I want them to look in the mirror and say, hey, look, I'm actually trying to pursue greatness. So you can't do that in one go. We do have like trial sessions where people can get their feet wet,
Yeah.
but the camp is more like you are committed to building something. And lion is the mindset. So
Okay.
it's a very, like if you ever understand boxing, it's like grassroots. It's the basis of humanity. It's like all those, how to explain it, your adrenaline starts going, your heart rate goes up, and you slowly start to change from this human being at a desk working a 9 to 5 to an athlete. You know, it's a different mindset. And then fitness is obviously what we do.
Yeah, I don't think there is any other sport like boxing, really, is there? Yeah, I mean,
Always-
you're touching on it with your martial arts, with
Yeah.
the combat element.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
something different.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a skill that rewards you immediately. Like when you learn how to throw a perfect jab, palm down, turning the shoulder, and you get that nice snap, pop, and you go, whoa. The feeling you get of success is like that.
Yeah.
And this is what happens when you do combat sports. You immediately receive the benefits.
Yeah. Well, I've always done a lot of sports that are not combat. I've been, gone a different path there.
Yeah,
So I've done
yeah.
the occasional combat, but I've always been like,
Yeah, we
like
encompass
the
everything.
individual
We
one.
encompass everything.
It's a different, and then I think
Yeah.
that brings in something different.
It's a different mindset.
Yeah, different mindset.
Yeah,
They're all good. It's like I always think with music, everyone's got some kind of instrument that's right for them.
Yes.
And I think in sport, there's something that's right for you. But I also think it's probably good to challenge yourself and then
Yeah,
go in
yeah.
to do something completely different because it
It's
just
funny
wakes up
that
your
she
mind.
says that because one of the things that I say is that boxing over the years, 20 plus years experience, has taught me how to be comfortable being very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you can take that skill into life.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%.
Whether you're sitting in front of a meeting or a group of people, you can conduct yourself in a certain way.
Yeah.
When I set up Family Law Cafe, a lot of it was having that sports
Mhm.
thinking
Mhm.
and have been on training camps myself.
Yeah.
And so the paradigm really is 6 months. I think
Yeah.
people need to be with me for 6 months to really see change.
Yeah.
Because some people come to me and I offer a monthly fee, usually that's how it works, monthly subscription and then some uplifts if they need it. So if someone comes maybe just 1 or 2 months, there's probably not going to be enough change.
No.
They don't have enough knowledge and it's not going to work as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's the same with you. If someone comes to you 1 or 2 months, it's just not
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
enough.
It's such a
Think
good
s-
parallel.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's the same thing. And so Family Law Cafe came from that. And I know that when I did sports, when I had a really good coach, those were my years of highest achievements. Whereas, you know, it's all in the coaching.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
Especially when the situation's like so like I said, it was like you're in the dark. Most people have never experienced it before, so when you like go into this journey, which that's what it felt like for us.
Yeah.
It felt like a journey, like
Yeah.
a conquest,
Yeah.
a long journey.
Yeah,
And-
and you didn't know where it was going to
Don't
end.
know
That's one thing
where-
that people don't
This,
understand.
this
They
is
do
so
not
true,
understand that.
because you don't know how long it's gonna go on for. You don't know how it's gonna look. You don't know how it's gonna feel. And I think a lot of the time, it's not discussed how you're gonna feel going
Yeah.
through
Of
this
course.
process,
Of course.
because it does really challenge you as an individual, as a partner potentially.
Yeah,
It will spill over into all other areas of your
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and it's a process that I wouldn't necessarily wish upon anyone. So-
it is. Yeah, me neither. But then I kind of think I can do something useful here. At least I can
Yeah.
make it more tolerable.
Yeah.
And then you can see it as a springboard to change.
Correct.
100%. Yeah.
It's your
yeah.
new life.
And the reason why it feels so long, because on my end, I've always been good at solving problems.
Yeah.
And I always thought like, oh, the nice guy will come out, you want this? Sure. And the problem's still there.
Yeah.
So that's what was difficult when you make all
Yeah.
these like compromises, or what do they call it? What do you guys call them in the lawyer world?
Compromises, agreements, settlements.
Settlements.
Yeah.
And we did what, 5 settlements?
Yeah.
You were the king of offers.
Yeah. And then you get to a point where you realize that you're going to be in for a long road.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. You got to prepare for a journey
You do.
and have the right
people
crew
around
members,
you.
yeah. All right.
Yeah, to
Yeah.
help you out through that.
Okay. Well, I love all of that. It's been such a pleasure talking to you. I'm so pleased to see you in such a happy place, being so successful. I know that this is going to be massive.
Yes.
And just really, just all power to you. Really lovely to see you again. And thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thanks.